Hey everyone, welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. I can't believe how nervous I feel right before I get on. My name is Marty Forrest. My website is Hello Extraordinary Life. If you've joined me on my fan page on Facebook. Thanks for being here. Same as my website, Hello Extraordinary Life. If you have not been there yet, you can find all of the calls recorded. This is my second, hi Lisa, my second weekly live Facebook. So yes, I'm still nervous about doing it live and being seen and people watching and I think she said hello. I cannot read without glasses. Yes, hello. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I appreciate that. Yes, so I'm just settling into my body so I can be present to what I came to talk about today. Check out the website. All the calls are under Insider Calls. Every one of them is recorded. They're also on YouTube under Marty Hicks, my legal name still. I haven't changed it, even though I say Marty Forrest. And that is on my website also. On the landing page, 3 steps to reprogramming your negative self-talk. You can pick up that free ebook, which is being transformed as we speak. And it is packed full of information about practical tips and tools about what we do and how we can make it different and how we can do some tweaks in the way that we think and view our world. Then you get on my email list and you get tips and tools every week that I send out in emails. You get notified about these calls and how to get on these calls. You get the link and then you get the recording. So all the good stuff. And today I called it meaning making machines, our mental process. So meaning making machines, talking about our brain and how our brain works and what we do in our thought processes. I had a friend who I wrote about this. So if you have not gotten the email or have not seen that, I have a friend who I was informed had been in a house explosion. And I didn't rest easy until I saw her because I had been told she was burned on 90% of her body. When I saw her, I learned it was only 40%. Only. It's still a significant amount. But what I did in my mind, that's what I want to talk about. Because it's what we all do. Something happens, we have thoughts about it, we have narrative about it, and then we make it mean all kinds of stuff, and we have all kinds of emotion, and we have all kinds of stress or worry or whatever we do to ourselves. And I think every one of us does it. Maybe those that are in a monastery don't, because they meditate all day long. That's part of our process to learn how to stop that process. In the meantime, the things that we do, something happens, we have thoughts about it, creates our emotional state, creates our mental state. Our brain is wired this way. It's wired to talk and to run a narrative all the time. We, in our human nature, become addicted, hypnotized. Call it what you want, but it runs 24/7. Nonstop, even when we're sleeping. I woke up this morning, 2:00 in the morning, my head's chattering away, and I'm not sleeping well as a result. Because I've got something I'm chewing on in my mind, and it's running. Even though I may be in and out of sleeping. Just the evidence that it's working all the time. Based on what we have experienced in our life, based on our childhood. Somebody says something, somebody gives us a look, then what? We make it mean something about us or about what might happen. We future trip it. We get all caught up in what we think they meant by their look, by their word. And then we make it mean all kinds of stuff based on our experience. If as children we were punished for being too loud or having our own thoughts, or we got yelled at, or just maybe in our environment, there was a lot of yelling and we didn't feel safe. Anything that mimics that or looks or feels anywhere close to that, pokes that original wound, I call it. And then our mind is making it mean whatever we made it mean then. Only now we're not really thinking about that time in our life. It's current. We're programmed based on our feelings, our perspectives, and our experiences from childhood and even in the womb. All perspective, all feeling. And our brains are not really mature enough then, obviously, it's still forming, to have any cognitive ability, to have any coping skills, or to know what really happened. All we know is how it felt. And usually it's a fear, whether we felt safe or unsafe, loved, nurtured, threatened, any one of those. Many of us that have this type of negative, what's the word? Narrative that goes on in our head all the time. What did I do? What's wrong? My husband did something and I make it mean it's all about me and he just doesn't love me enough. Is that really true? Not at all. But it happened as a kid. The feeling is the same. The feeling that gets generated inside of me is the same based on my thoughts, how I learned to cope and be safe and survive as a child. So it always goes back to something else. Some things we get intuitively we know we're not safe. That's a different thing. I'm talking about the things that we let run amok in our head that tell us a story or make up some stuff that when we stop, here are some of the things you can do to disrupt it. That's what it takes, is disrupting the thought pattern and the process. It's like those, I always think of those wagon wheel ruts that they can still find on the earth when they used to travel across the country. That's what in our brain. That neurological pathway is a rut in our brain that just runs and goes. The same rut. Creates all kinds of things. Once we're in it, and it's really challenging to get out. This is deep. It's a deep cavern or deep hole, deep rut that we're constantly in. And then we get on the edge of it because we just barely got out of it and then we fall right back in. Habit. It's a habit. It's what we know. It's what we're comfortable with. It's where we default. Somehow it's serving us. And then there's this whole, some people call it addiction, because somehow it still serves us to not make different choices. I'm careful about the word change because there's quite a lot of charge when we think about, oh, I gotta change. I have to do something else. I have to change myself. Just do something different. Pick something different to do, to disrupt the thing that sabotages you. That voice that tells you, I'm not good enough. I did something wrong. Somebody said I needed to talk to them. Somebody said it to me one time in the last year, let's just say. And I immediately, my stomach clenched. I stopped breathing. And I went, oh my God, what happened? What did I do? Why is it automatically about me? And I know you all do that too. So why is it instantly about you when someone needs to talk? In that instance, I have enough evidence that says people have said that to me over the years and it's had nothing to do with me at all. That's one of the things to do, start looking for evidence that shows you something contrary to what you make it mean in your head. Because you have a lifetime of that. But you're going to focus on where you focus, and that's what you're going to find. So if we're always focusing on the thing that went wrong, the thing that made us feel bad, the thing that made us feel unsafe, we're always going to keep creating that. We just will. Because that's what we keep generating inside of us. Okay, so pause. You're listening, you've been here, you've heard me talk a lot about this negative, this trap that we get ourselves into, this mind fuck that we do to ourselves. Yes, I dropped an F-bomb because I do that sometimes. And that's one of my cues that something's going on in me. It's not today, it has been. It has been actually. But today it's not. But it's one of my cues that says, hey, I'm dropping the F-bomb pretty consistently and I'm pretty mindless about it. I'm not really thinking about it. So I know there's something bubbling underneath. Start to pay attention. It's telling you something. It's your warning. It's your little flag that says, hey, there's something going on under the surface here. Start to pay attention to that. You know what triggers you. So if you know what triggers you, have a plan. So when you get triggered, you can do something different. And I promise you it takes time. Because you'll be down the trigger. Dang it, I was going to do something else. Hit restart right then. Start over. Have that plan. Pause when you get triggered. Pause. Say nothing. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Automatically changes the chemistry in your body. Gives your brain a moment to think something else. We're so habituated that we're off down that path. Right now. With no thought. Disrupt it. Think. Pause. Pause. Think. Not about the thought, but pause. Allow a different thought to come in. Today, just before I got on the call, my husband said something about the person not returning a phone call. And I said, well, that's kind of crappy. My head automatically went there. Kind of crappy. Why don't they call? Why don't they return the call? It's business. My next thought, when I paused, maybe something happened. Maybe there's a reason we don't know about. You see the difference? We make up something based on our experience. And maybe it's our experience of many people in our life. But just that little tweak, that maybe something happened. Maybe there's a reason that they're not calling. Shifts my brain, removes my stress, and gives me a new thought. It's the disrupting the pattern that we're so familiar with and we're so comfortable we don't even hear it anymore. It's so automatic. It just runs constantly. And we get hypnotized by our own voice. This voice we're hypnotized by was one time, at one point in your life, someone else's. It was someone else's voice that gave you these messages or made up these stories. And over time in our life, it becomes ours. We don't know anything else. We just hear our own voice. Begin getting curious about your own narrative in your head. Where did it come from? Why do I think like this? How does it make me feel? Is it productive and is it helpful? We know if it is or it isn't. It's pretty easy to distinguish. If it's not, what else can I think? And if I don't know, if you don't know, go read something. Go find some positive something or other that helps you move and like go from here to over here. So I'm heading down this road that's the same one I always go down. I usually get the same results. So what if I go over, maybe I just do a 1 degree shift and go over here, think a new thought, and then hold on to that thought and build on that thought and keep building on that thought. Because it's going to shift you away from the habit. And then you create new habits. That's all it is. It's habits and it's programming. So now when we start to do new things and we create new habits and we keep doing new habits, fortunately, I have found in my time of coaching and working with people and in myself, it takes a little less time to reprogram to create new thoughts. However, when the right button gets pushed, by default, that's why I call it a default. I have a default behavior. You have one. Pay attention to what that is. Because when you're defaulting, then it's, what did I just get triggered by? Ask yourself that. What just happened? Real life example. Currently, I have found myself being resentful. A month or so, and then one leads to the next, and I'm making up a whole bunch of stuff in my head, and I'm feeding it. It's not constant 100% of the time during the day, but it's enough that it makes me feel heavy and yucky. Just this morning, I was talking about my mentor moved. She left today, and I'd rather be mad and sad. Default. I'm defaulting to what's comfortable and what's familiar. And I've recognized that I was defaulting. What I had not done yet was look. What's under it? Why? What's causing this resentment that I'm not normally living in? Because resentment and anger can go hand in hand for me. I'm grieving. There's a grieving process that I don't want to look at and I don't want to feel. So I'd rather be mad. I don't like it. I recognize it a lot sooner, but it happened the same way when my dad died. So when you start to see what is showing up in your world, it's always been there. Now you're paying attention. Is it depression? Do we cry a lot? Do we get angry? Do we shut down? Do you avoid? All tactics, right? To not feel something that's going on under the surface. Something we don't like feeling. And I had this thought that if I feel my grief, or if I feel my rage, or if I feel any other thing you want to put in there. I see myself looking off and not at the camera, so I'm like thinking about that. I was certain if I actually felt it, that I would never stop. I would just be there and I would just be in this grief and this angry and I would never stop feeling that. And it's never ever been true. And I still don't like it. I still don't like feeling it. Anger will drive me. Sad is like depression and Eeyore. If any of you're all familiar with Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore, the little depressed donkey. That's what sad and grief reminds me of. So I don't want to go there, which is, I've never done it actually. I've never actually gone to that depressed place. I get sad and I grieve. It's different. It's still that heavy emotion. There was somewhere else I wanted to go in that. Not about the grief and the anger, but the default emotion. Paying attention to it. Someone told me one time, and I know I've said this, I've written it, I've shared it a lot. As deeply as I can feel angry and sad, as deeply as you can feel whatever that is for you, is also as deeply as we can feel love, joy, hope, happy. The opposite, the total opposite. That is unfamiliar to most of us if we've not allowed ourselves to really just free fall into those places that make us feel good. Because we're so used to not. So it's really a stretch and it's really uncomfortable to raise our bar and to allow ourselves to dive as deeply into those really beautiful, happy, joyful emotions as it is the sad, mad, whatever other ones you want to put in there. Pausing, becoming mindful, paying attention to what's going on when you start to see, or when you become mindful and you're paying attention, and then you start to see the defaults. Where do I default? What happens when I'm defaulting? Like I told you, mine is I'll start dropping F-bombs without any thought, and then I start to hear and go, should probably take a look. And sometimes we don't know right away. Sometimes it's simply sitting with that and allowing that emotion to come up, because all those default things that we do are masking it, keeping the defense, keeping the barrier, keeping us what we think is safe. It's not really keeping us safe, but that's what we've been taught and that's how we've learned. Pause, breathe, ask yourself, what's under that? What am I really feeling below my, whatever that is, whatever yours is? And it may take a little while. It took me a good solid month to, oh, my friend just left this morning early. I didn't go see her yesterday. I had my moment with her and said our goodbyes. I'll still talk to her on the phone. It's just different. But there's still this grieving process that I don't want to look at. So that's a real-time thing, and that happens. That's just something for, I say it about me, but consider for yourself when you're trying to avoid something. You're leaving a job even, or if you're getting married, or you're doing something, or someone has said something to you. Maybe a stranger says something to you. I had a conversation with someone, and it was in tears. I said, what are you saying to yourself? And he had said something in a voicemail. It was just a complete stranger. You're a worthless something. You can't do your job. Just very condescending. And that touched her wound of something that her dad had used to say to her when she was a kid. She was worthless. She wasn't wanted. She couldn't do her job, or whatever that was. And it triggered that wound. And she made it mean something about herself. Because the dialogue goes off. And I was able to coach her and help her through to see that what she was making it mean, and it's an opportunity to heal. I'm going to put my glasses on again. She wrote something. Laura's on. Hi, Laura. Yes, so sometimes we don't know. And when we don't know, we can either sit with it for a while, you can call someone, get a coach, you can hire someone like me. That's what I do. I get to help people dig a little deeper and shine the flashlight in a really gentle way, that we can look inside and develop a new story, and develop some compassion for ourselves, and ways that we can look that alter our view of ourselves, and then begin to change the programming and change the messaging that we've been taught for most of our lives. And that's what I have for today. I'm seeing a hello, and someone else is on. And anybody have any questions before we depart for the day? It gets a glare on my glasses. That's better. Hi. All right. Take a listen. Let me know if you have any questions. I can't see anything. No, it just shows up in order there. All right. Thank you for being here. And I will be back next week. Hopefully it'll get easier. Hopefully it just gets easier with time. I can tell you, here's what I make up in my head about being live. What are you going to think about me? Am I going to flub up my words? Am I going to fall on my face? See the thing about being in front of people. Yes, thank you. She says I have helped her so much. I think that was Lisa. And I still have those thoughts. That's that programming. What's people's biggest fear? Public speaking. I've gotten really good at it. And now that I'm live, it's very different. It's very different than being on a phone where I'm recording a phone call. So thank you for being here. And I appreciate the support and the love and the care. And I will be back next week at 12 o'clock live on Facebook. Thank you. Have a great week, and leave your comments below. You can find it on YouTube. Sign up on the website, Hello Extraordinary Life. Get your free ebook. And have a great week. Thank you.